Uh, hey guys, this video right here is to show you guys top 10 tricks and tips with Perfumer. Perfumer overall is a mind gaming and experience type of survivor. Um, Perfumer is a character you really don't need a badge for, to be honest. Perfumer is a character that you just need to learn how to use and your situation depending on the hunter, depending on your situation and your team comp. Now, I promise you, it doesn't take a fancy badge to make a good perfumer. B badge perfumer could do better than an S badge perfumer, and it's been shown before. And perfumer has kind of fallen off the meta because you have better survivors like Gray, First Officer, and Merc, etc. But overall, myself as a top player, I'm not a top perfumer. But overall, sometimes it doesn't hurt to really learn a few little tips and tricks of a survivor that it's not my main. So as a top player, these are just tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way, seen some people do, and etc. So I just hope you guys learned something from this. And overall, just remember, Perfumer is an experienced character, and I will show you guys top 10 tricks and knowledge that I know about Perfumer. Alrighty, tip number one is Perfumer Global Portal Trick. Now, what this trick is basically a trick that you do to avoid the hunter hitting your clone. Essentially, what you do is that you go through the portal, you perfume, go back on the hunter side, and perfume back to avoid your image being hit. Now, this is an example if you do it the wrong way. It's if you portal on the hunter side, go through the portal and perfume back. This leaves your image on this side of the map. Now you want to do it the opposite way to avoid being double hit. But overall, this is a good trick that some top perfumers do to avoid getting downed or feeding presence, etc. Just I would recommend just practicing over it and remembering when to do it in moments. Alrighty, tip number two is Perfumer tie trick. Now, essentially against double hit hunters, what you can do is that you perfume, you take a hit, and then you take another hit, and you perfume back. Essentially what this does, that this perfumes one hit. So at this point, you would be injured. But since Tide Turner is 20 seconds and your cooldown for perfume is 10 seconds, you can easily perfume before Tide Turner runs out. As you can see at the top corner, you'll see Tide Turner icon. It runs out, and then you get injured, and then you perfume. This essentially gives you back full health after getting double hit. So this Tide Perfumer can basically body block and restore her own health to full. Alrighty, tip number three, ping for owl. As you can see in this clip right here, I get hit with a normal attack, which means my perfume should be on cooldown for 10 seconds. I ping for owl because the seer would spectate me, and this allows me to basically vault the window without taking any damage. Now, as a perfumer, you need, if there's a seer, you need to ping for owl after you perfume, just in case you might get hit. It's better to be safe than sorry. Usually perfumers will ping for owl before they even get hit by anything at all, and that's really good. So it lets a seer have time to react and get ready to ping. Most seers will say don't move, I'm coming once they're spectating, and that's to let the perfumer or any type of survivor know I'm watching you. So as you can see in this clip, I ping for owl, I get hit by the tentacle, I'll perfume back. There should be a terror shock, but since I ping for owl, she watched me and I take no damage. Alrighty, tip number four is instant perfuming. Now, instant perfuming is a lot easier if you're a green ping user, like 60 and roughly below, like 100 ping, you have green ping, it's easier to instant perfume. But if you're a yellow ping or slightly into red ping territory, it's a lot harder to instant perfume because there is a slight delay with everything you do, perfuming, vaulting, etc. So if you're a higher ping user, it's easier to perfume if you do it a little early. That way in advance, it kind of comes out when you need to. Now, Perfumer is a really good kiter, but the bad thing about her is that she does feed the hunter. Feeding the hunter presence can make it harder for your teammates mid-game and late game, and it can also make your kite as Perfumer a lot harder. It's harder to kite a fed VO than a non-fed VO, and Perfumer does exactly that. She feeds. So you want to use your environment and kite normally like a normal kiter until you need to use your perfumes. When you have to use your perfumes, use them. But if you don't have to, do not just give presents to the hunter. Some hunters won't even chase you if you just get a free present. Some hunters will just get presents and leave you. Now, this is an example of the 1v1 I do here, where I use my perfume almost every time I get it back. Now this essentially is bad because I'm overfeeding the hunter, and my kite won't be as good enough if it worked if I was just saving my perfume and just tight kite like around my environment. So the hunter finds me here and I get hit, and I perfume back. So now my perfume is on cooldown and I'm waiting for it to get back. So now I'm kind of looping here, and as soon as my perfume comes back, I go around the wall, come back out, she hits me, I go back for the stun. I'm not being patient. I'm just immediately doing this super fast. I'm not even being patient at all. And it's going to cost me. As you can see, I was worried about the bell. She doesn't even bell me. I perfume, take the hit. I think she's in the pallet. And this ends my kite because I was too greedy. Alrighty. Tip number 5 is don't feed the hunter too early. This perfumer ends up walking into me, and she throws the pallet down. Now, that one perfume, in this sense, screws over the whole team. Why? I got that presence. As a Wu Chang user, you will just teleport away. You find a survivor in a weak area. That's presence right there. That's half presence. Now, that perfumer just screwed over the mind's eye because now she's kiting Wu Chang with presence, and her kite turns into a 10-second kite because of this. This could have been a longer kite, but since the Wu Chang was fed off that one perfume, it changed the game for the mind's eye, and now her kite became a 10-second kite. Now, this does happen a lot in the high tier where Wu Ching will teleport and away from that one free hit they got off the survivor and go to a survivor in a weak area and just down them super early. Now, it is a weird example, like if your hunter's not a Wu Chang, but one hit from a perfume and giving that presence can screw over your whole team. It's a weird example, but overall, this is what happens in high tier. A lot of Wu Changs will just hit somebody and just teleport away, and you need to know how to outplay it and avoid it and use your environment. Alrighty, step 6 with a perfumer is mind gaming. So now there's 1 out of 3 mind gaming strategies, and this is the first one I'll show you. I call this one holes. Now what this is basically you perfume before you drop down a hole. Why? Now what this does is that it forces the hunter to make a decision. Do I drop down the hole and follow the perfumer and let her perfume back? Or do I sit there, let the perfumer get away, and then follow her after her perfumer goes away? Now, it's a great way of looping as perfumer, and it's used a lot when perfumers are injured and they can't really perfume. But overall, what this does is if it's early game, it doesn't feed the hunter. So you're helping your teammates out even if they do leave you. As you can see, the hunter drops down and I perfume back. Essentially what this does, it doesn't feed the hunter, your teammates won't have trouble kiting hopefully, and you just wasted a lot of time without feeding any type of hit. Alrighty, tip number 7 is windows. This goes along with the mind gaming aspect of perfumer, just kind of like the holes, but does apply to windows. Now, hunters who have confined space, which I'll show you in a bit, but hunters without confined space, you can still mind game. So essentially what this is basically if you perfume before vaulting a window or a second story window, what you can do is that as soon as the hunter vaults, you can perfume back. Now, you don't really want to do this with hunters who don't have confined space because usually doesn't help you, but as you can see, I vault this window to try to act like I get away, so the hunter falls for it, and essentially they teleport. So now they have to walk all the way around and try to catch up to me. Now, you can use this along with your the hole aspect and also do the hole trick. Essentially what this is doing is it's looping, wasting time, and it's not feeding the hunter. So overall, it's going to be helpful for my teammates. Now, again, hold the window. When you perfume, the hunter vaults, you perfume back, and they have confined space, so they can't really go back. It's a Wu Chang after all, so they could teleport, but a normal hunter is like maybe a photographer or maybe a geisha sometimes. They will vault that window, and then you can perfume back without giving any type of presence. Now again, when you come up here, you'll see me come up here and perfume. I'm gonna vault this window. They're gonna vault the window as well, and I perfume back. They have confined space, so this could be I'm trapped. But since this is ever sleeping, I can just sneakily go away this way, and so I break the hunter's line of sight. They don't see me. They think I'm still up there, but they didn't see me drop down. So now, essentially, the hunter lost me. Doesn't know where I am. Now, remember, this goes along with holes, windows, and it's just pure mind gaming, and it's looping. It's wasting time and not feeding the hunter. Alrighty, step number 9 is avoid baiting. Now, this is really hard to do sometimes depending on the hunter, because most hunters now counter perfumer, usually because they have a second hit or some type of projectile that can make you get baited and therefore following up with an attack, allowing you not to have perfume. Now in this 1v1 you'll see me go against Cat's Ripper. And so I do it normal survivors would do in any scenario where they transition to graveyard. Now I'm just gonna pallet waste. I'm gonna waste these pallets to ensure I don't have to perfume nor get hit by a foggy and I'm safe. Now the problem with this is that soon enough against a perfumer as a ripper, you just want to bait them, then follow it with the foggy and just hit right after. Now in this scenario I get scared of the foggy because I thought it was gonna foggy. Patience on his part, he sees my perfume wasted out, fog blades me through the window, and now I'm injured and I can't perfume whatsoever. And in scenarios like this is where perfume becomes hard because you need to know how to mind game and avoid projectiles of all hunters. Now, overall, you're going to see me perfume back because I get scared, and so now this ends my kite. Overall, avoid being baited by any type of hunter. Alrighty, in this clip it's the opposite. Some hunters won't hesitate to really hit you because what they'll do is that they'll hit your perfume and then they'll get presence, and what they'll do right after is follow up with their attacks. That way you can't perfume any of it because your perfume's on cooldown. Now for example, you see John hits my perfume on purpose and now he's just using his statues to almost instantly and really quickly kill me. But I still have 2 perfumes, and what I can do is I can tie kite the sculptor and use my perfumes to my advantage to buy a few more seconds. So now you see me just tight kiting and using my perfumes to my advantage. Overall, if you fail perfume when you get baited, you just need to tight kite or transition kite depending on what your situation is, and just mind game with those perfumes while being injured. Alrighty, tip number 9 is builds. Now we're going to review 3 builds a lot of perfumers like to use and it's most popular. This build is a kiting build, broken windows with borrowed time, and some pallets and sticker. This is to ensure you don't get slugged, and if you do need to stun the hunter to buy a few seconds to get your perfume back. This clip right here is showing you the screenshot of a tied build. Now this is in case you need to get tie turn on Perfumer. Usually you don't do this because Perfumer is not a rescue character. Usually you only do this if Merc is banned and you need like a cord and a Perfumer tie build. This is optional. This is a good one for kiting and still bringing tide. This is a healing build. This is still a kiting build, but this is to counter Perfumer's debuff for healing, so you can pick yourself up faster and get healed faster by your teammates in case you need to. Last tip, know how to outplay your hunter. Now you're going to see in the next few screenshots 3 hunters going from easiest to hardest range of difficulty for Perfumer. You can see I kited a Wu Chang for 143 seconds. And in this screenshot, I kited a Violinist for 91 seconds. And in this screenshot, you see me kite a Bonbon for 61 seconds. Overall, it's showing the difficulty what you can do as Perfumer. When it comes to hunters with projectiles and certain chip damaging abilities, it gets harder and your kites can become a lot less, but mind gaming with the perfumes, it's the best you can do. It shows that Perfume requires mind gaming experience. Overall, this does conclude the top 10 tricks and tips I know with Perfumer. I will show you these 1v1s that I did with these hunters to show you what I did, and I'll just add in some music and clip it. Overall, I thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you guys learned a thing or two about Perfumer. I know I did, and hopefully this guy really does help you.
now.